Yet if any man suffer as a Christian, let him not be ashamed, but let him glorify God on this behalf. For the time has come that judgment must begin at the house of God. And if it first begin at us, what shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel of God? And if the righteous scarcely be saved, where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear?
Shalom, all praise, glory, honor, and the fears to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rekha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS. Salutations to you like men out there, the house of David. And this video was inspired by, I was watching this series the other day. I got through part 1, but it's on the days of Noah, the flood, part 1. And it goes into how basically the flood is validated, it's even backed up by geology. Like when you go to the Grand Canyon, there's like several layers of rocks, and the same exact layers in the same exact order. It's found in places of Europe, it's found in Middle East, all the way to the Himalayas. So it shows you of a very catastrophic world event. And even in other cultures, they'll have their, going back thousands of years, they'll have their different lessons and stories of a great flood that happened on the earth. And let me get that as well. Because the Lord said, as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the end, and we're in the end. There's also literally fossil fuels and fossils and bones of past, animals and fishes. When they're literally eating another fish, you have things embalmed that are animals giving birth. So it happened in a moment, man, when life was happening. And let me get this as well. If you check out the video, you'll get more of an in-depth understanding on it, but I'm just gonna read this real quick. Alright, many people consider Grand Canyon National Park the world's premier geologic landscape and a geologic wonder. The eroded cliff reveals 1.7 billion years of fossils, volcanic activity, and geological history. See, that's where the lie is. And I want to talk about this because the Earth ain't no 1.7 billion years old, okay? And they show you in this series how the flood is the only explanation for how throughout the world it has the same layers, and the animals died. Okay. Let me get this as well. Alright, Grand Canyon rock layers. The 3 main rock layer sets in the Grand Canyon are grouped based on position and common composition, and 1. Metamorphic basement rocks, 2. The Precambrian Grand Canyon supergroup, and 3. Paleozoic strata. They go into how it was a very violent, and it formed layers. And nothing that was spoken of was how you had people that came up. So just as it was in days of Noah, right? They forsook God. They wasn't in the spirit. They were all about the flesh, and they were all about themselves, right? The same thing happened as history went on in the after Dark Ages, right? The middle in the medieval times when Israel was ruling, right? The Byzantine Empire, the Holy Roman Empire, also known as. You had a belief in God, but see, they had a zeal but not according to knowledge. They was worshiping Mary, they was worshiping women and shit, but they're being wicked at the end of the day. And another thing at the end of the day, prophecy had to be fulfilled, which I'm gonna get in Revelation 20. I'll get it now. First precept, Revelation 20:1. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand, and he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent. See, it's all those evil spirits, those spirits that fight against the Most High and His will, what He wants, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. All right, and it's going to Edomites. That was bound 1,000 years. The Dark Ages, roughly 400 to 1400, and cast him unto the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled, and after that he must be loose a little season. So we're in that little season right now, and a lot has happened in the past, and a lot is happening right now, which I'm gonna get. So let me bring out this first. This is going into the Grand Canyon. All right, and when you go to Job, matter of fact, let me get this in Job as well. Job 12. And through all the hell and persecution, chastisement we catch here and in the flesh, this is where we find comfort in this truth. Job 12 and verse 7 to verse 8. Verse 8 is the point. It says, but ask now the beasts, and they shall teach thee, and the fowls of the air, and they shall tell thee. You see, their graves, they was washed away. Prehistoric animals that went extinct. Or speak to the earth, you see, the earth, and it shall teach thee, and the fishes of the sea shall declare unto thee. So it's going to it's called the great unconformity, all right, of the many unconformities, which that means gaps, because there's gaps in the Grand Canyon. Like, okay, well, where is this part? It's like it looks as if it's missing. Observed in geological strata, the term great unconformity is frequently applied to either the unconformity observed by James Hutton in 1787. Let me get to the point. It says, both instances are exceptional examples of where the contacts between sedimentary strata and either sedimentary or crystalline strata or of greatly different ages, origins, and structures represent periods of geological time. So these evolutionists and scientists, they like to say that each rock layer represents a period of millions and billions of years, which that's not the truth. This happened quick throughout the whole earth. Let me see if I have anything else in this Wikipedia article here. Yeah, this goes into it, man, how they're totally going off. Because the only way that this could have happened is if a great catastrophic judgment had happened, which was the flood. So this is what they try to take out once Esau came back into power. They deceived the nations, acting like there was never a flood. Most High had never judged the earth because of their wickedness, and therefore by them deceiving the world by thinking that, then they also going to deceive the world by thinking what going to come with that fire. You see, it's just absolutely cut off God entirely. It says there is currently no widely accepted explanation for the great unconformity among geoscientists. There are theories that have been proposed. It is widely accepted that there was a combination of more than one event which may have caused such an extensive phenomenon, which it wasn't. It was one event, the flood. One example is a large glaciation event which took place during the Neoproterozoic. See, they be making shit up, bro. So the wisdom of Esau is perverted, man. starting about 1 billion years ago. Are you kidding me? Let me see. It says this is also when a significant glaciation event known as a snowball Earth occurred. Snowball Earth covered almost the entire planet with ice. You see that? Yeah, man, that's not the case. But let me get this as well. Let's go to Luke 17 and verse 25. But first must he suffer many things and be rejected of this generation. So as Yahushua was rejected, he suffered many things. We are following his footsteps. We are representing him. So we're going through like situations, man. We're being rejected. We're suffering. Let's get that word for rejected real quick. And even by the ones closest to you that the Lord was sent to, he was rejected by. Right? Disapprove, repudiate. And same thing that's going to happen to us. And that's what's going to hurt the most. When it's your own people, your own brothers that, cast you out and reject you. Right? Refuse to accept or to be associated with, right? I don't know that guy. See, we count it joy. Let me get this as well. Verse 26. And as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be also in the days of the Son of Man. And the Lord only saved Noah and his household. Very few. While the whole world was condemned, man. Alright, verse 27. They did eat, they drank, they married wives. They were given in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and the flood came and destroyed them all. And the flood that's coming now is going to be fire. It's going to be judgment, sword, pestilence. And just like in the time of when Satan was loose a little season in Revelation 20, you have something called the Black Plague. Now, what plague you have? You have the COVID-19. They're saying they're saying that there's new strands of the plague, the pestilence now. So this is all telltale signs of a transformation, an end of Esau and the beginning of Jacob. So let me get this as well. All right, because this goes into how it was as the days of Noah, because they turned away from the Most High, giving heed to fables. Worshiping themselves rather what they create, but rather than the Creator. So let's get this real quick.
6 track.
So during like the 1500s, you had the Renaissance, but you also had something called the Age of Enlightenment. All right, also known as the Age of Reason or simply the Enlightenment. Now, the wicked is as darkness. They call darkness good. They call light darkness, right? So you have to understand that this is when darkness came. Let's see. Let's go to Job. Job 10 and 22. A land of darkness as darkness itself, and of the shadow of death without any order, and where the light is as darkness. And that's what we're walking through. So we walk by faith. That's why David said in the Psalms, though we walk through the valley of shadow of death, we'll feel no evil, because Lord, the scriptures is truth. It comforts us. Every man's a liar. Proverbs 4 and verse 19. The way of the wicked is as darkness. They know not at what they stumble. And let's keep reading here. The Age of Enlightenment says was an intellectual and philosophical movement that dominated the world of ideas in Europe. You see? That's where they were loosed during the 17th and 18th centuries. The Enlightenment. This is what they ain't gonna teach you this in school. And when you check out that video, Days of Noah, part 1 of 4, it goes in to show you how what happened in the midst of time. How it's all coming together. They were burning Bibles. It's gonna go into it, but they were burning Bibles. They were killing priests. They were persecuting Christians that believed in God, because before then you had Christians and the church and the priests. They was misusing their power. They was taking advantage of, the church, Even during the time of the Dark Ages, it was persecuting anyone that would come out and basically preach something that was contrary to what they wanted, the establishment. What was established, they was making all these churches to marry and all that stuff, So let's keep reading here. The Enlightenment included a range of ideas centered on the sovereignty of reason and the evidence of the senses. See, all about the always needing proof, no faith, therefore not able to please God. It says, as the primary sources of knowledge and advanced ideals such as liberty, progress, toleration, fraternity, constitutional government, and separation of church and state. You see, so that's when there was division amongst the church and the state. The government, which government means control your mind, and the church. And this is when they really pushed the church, push God away into the dark, covered, just as it says in Job 9:24, the earth is given to the hand of the wicked. They cover the face of the judge thereof, but they also cover the judgments, man. They also try to cover and act like it doesn't exist, or it hasn't happened, or it's not going to happen, the judgment of the Most High. Like the brother asked me a question, going to the first death, the water, the flood, and the second death that is soon approaching, man, the fire. Here it is right here. The ideas of the Enlightenment undermined the authority of the monarchy and the Catholic Church and paved the way for the political revolutions of the 18th and 19th centuries. Alright. So Lord destroyed that church, those doctrines with the Age of Enlightenment, the Renaissance, And two evils don't make it right, So let's get this. This is let's get this first. Let's see. Matter of fact, let's go to the Apocrypha. Alright, this is 1 Thessalonians 5:1. But the times and the seasons, brethren, you have no need that I write unto you. Because through the Spirit we already understand all the signs, as it was in days of Noah. They X'd out God. They separated the government from the church. They demonized people that believe God. Wisdom of Solomon 7 and verse 16. Verse 15 says, let's start verse 14. Verse 13. I learn diligently to do and do communicate her liberally. I do not hide her riches. For she is a treasure unto men. And see, the scripture saying in Psalms that the truth shall spring out of the earth. You see? He that watereth, he shall be watered also. So that little seed, alright, we keep watering brothers, and the brothers keep watering us. We're growing, man. It says, I do not hide her riches, verse 14. For she is a treasure unto men that never faileth, which they that use become the friends of God, being commended for the gifts that come from learning. It says, God hath granted me to speak as I would, and to conceive as is meet for the things that are given me, because it is he that leadeth unto wisdom and directeth the wise. You see? Now check this out. It says, for in his hand are both we and our words, all wisdom also and knowledge of workmanship. For he hath given me certain knowledge of things that are, namely, to know how the world was made, and the operation of the elements. You see? So the elements, right? All these rock layers, and not just in the Grand Canyon, but throughout the world, the same layers, the same exact. And you think that's a coincidence? You got this layer, that layer. I'm not expert in it, but watch the show, you'll know what I'm saying. Nah, man, that's a very high organization of a very rapid judgment. verse 18. The beginning, ending, and midst of the times, the alterations of the turning of the sun, and the change of season. And we're in a change of power right now, man. It says the circuit of years and the position of stars, the natures of living creatures and the furies of wild beasts, the violence of winds, and the reasonings of men. So we know why men act the way they act. We know why there's the animals are acting how they're acting. There's violence, winds, there's tornadoes. It says diversities of plants and the virtues of roots, and all such things are either secret or manifest. Them I know, because Lord's going to reveal that to his servants. You see. And they also go into the age of Reformation, which also goes into the Renaissance humanism. You know, this is all happening in the past. Ecclesiastes, right? That which hath been is what shall be. There's nothing new under the sun. Psalms 118:17. I shall not die, but live and declare the works of the Lord. You see that? Yahweh hath chastened me sore, but he hath not given me over unto death. That's right. I'm chastened sore. I know you brothers are too, that diligent. 2 Corinthians 12:7. Unless I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of the revelations, there was given to me a thorn in the flesh, the messenger of Satan to buffet me, lest I should be exalted above measure. Let's get that word for buffet.
Strong's G 2852, Calafizo.
That's heavy. Look at that. To strike with the fist, give a blow with the fist, to maltreat, treat with violence, and contumely. Look at that word for contumely. Right? Abuse, insolent and insulting language or treatment, right? And that's what's happened, because this is what? Not the kingdom of the Lord. See? And the heat, that persecution, that maltreatment, the violence, because this kingdom is going to go down by violence. The kingdom of heaven suffers violence, and the kingdom of heaven is within us. You see how it all comes together? Let's get that word from maltreat. Right? Treat a person or animal cruelly or with violence. And it's going to say an unwise king destroyed the people. And that's what's happened. That's what you see happen on a global scale. Alright. Daniel's 4 and verse 17. This man is by the decree of the watchers and the demand by the holy ones, the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and set up over the basest of men. And that's what we see happening, man. You know. Lamentations 3 and verse 37. Who is he that saith, and it cometh to pass, when the Lord commandeth it not? Right? So when the Lord commands something, it happens. Whether right away or whether in a certain period of time, it's going to happen. I'll probably close out with this precept. And I'll repeat this. Alright, 2 Peter 3 and 4, outside verse 4. And saying, where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of the creation. For this they willingly are ignorant of, that by the word of God the heavens were of old, and the earth staying out of the water and in the water, whereby the world that then was, being overflowed with water, perished. But the heavens and the earth, which are now by the same word, are kept in store, reserved unto fire against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men. But beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. And when you go into Ezra's, the earth is only like 13,000 years old. You know, not billions and millions of years old. You see? That's another way they confuse people. But yeah, I'm going to close out there. Matter of fact, verse 9. The Lord is not slack concerning his promise, as some men count slackness, but is longsuffering to usward, not willing that any should perish, but all should come to repentance. And that's what it is, man. And the Lord is not slacking, everything's speeding up. Just want to bring that out real quick. Something to take in consideration. You know, check out that little documentary. It's edifying. Giving all praises, glory, honor, and fear to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kakwadash, Wa Baba Bo.